Okay, well, I can hear myself. I also believe you can hear me too. Okay, first of all, thank you for coming here. This is the last session today in this room, anyway. I will try to be as straightforward as possible, and also to give you as many concrete things, so that you don't fall asleep or feel sorry that you have come here to this room. Okay, so thank you for the beginning. What I have chosen to speak today about is a little bit about organizing product teams, more actually about how to transfer your team from the group of individuals to coherent team. So just a few words about me. I see a lot of familiar faces here. However, a lot of you I don't know, and you don't know me probably. I've been in a product management for over 15 years now, and more than 10 years leading teams, mainly product teams, with different number of people, from few people to over 20 people, dislocated and located in different locations. I've got some experience which I try to round up into a framework that I'm gonna show you today. Okay, so just to remind you, we have this match about application for all the questions that I can answer to at the end of the session. Okay, so for the beginning, let's just agree upon some things. What do we want from the product team? I'm speaking here about the product teams. Most of these things can be applied to any team, probably. But as coming from the product background, I will be talking about the product teams. So what do we want from a product team? We probably want them to be transparent, so that people know what the product team is doing on. You know? Not just the developers, but also stakeholders. They want to have the insight into what's happening. Then we probably want to have to do for them to do their job as quick as possible. So we want them to be quick. We want them to feel sort of accountability and ownership, not only over the product that they're working on, but also over the organization and over the processes. So we want them also to be engaged in what they are doing. And what we want people in general to have probably is growth mindset. So to be skillful in what they are doing, obviously. So the question is, how do we achieve all of this with our people? And when I was thinking about this, I thought, okay, I see there are three things, three components. We want people to do the right things, so not to do anything in their lives or whatever they think is possible. So to focus on the right things. We want for the people to do the things right in the right way, and also we want them to be self-propelled. We don't want to micromanage people, obviously. Okay, so in other words, what we want them is to have focus, to have skills, and to be motivated. And this is what this is all about. So I was also thinking, what about if something is missing here? So I was thinking, okay, so if they have focus and they have motivation, but they don't have skills, what happens? So, and this reminded me of this. You have probably seen this video clip where a few professional football players are playing at a field with a bunch of kids. And the kids are very motivated, so they want to achieve something. And they are focused, but they lack skills. So what happens is that obviously professionals win this game. So what happens if they have skills and they have motivation, but they don't have focus? At best, they create something wrong. It might happen that they don't create anything because they just lost focus. They're just doing something randomly and they don't create anything. And finally, if they are focused and they have skills, but with lack of motivation, or at best it's some dubious products, they just do the average thing because they lack motivation. So it's also not something good. It seems maybe better, but at the end, the end result is also crappy. So what we want, actually, where we want to be is this sweet spot here where all these circles cross. Okay, how we do it? Yeah, there are some things that we have to do in general before starting implementing and pushing our team in some direction. I'm getting close to you because I want to be close, but also because I want to escape these heavy lights, so I can't see anyone. I feel a little bit strange. So there are some things that we have to do before we start, making changes with our team. One of the first things is to understand where we are. So we have to understand the company, its vision, strategy, roadmap, because we will be working with the product team, so this is really essential for us to understand where the company is heading. Also, we have to understand things about our products. Obviously, these people are working on them, so we have to understand the product vision, product strategy, outcomes that we want to achieve, just not to place people at the wrong place. Then we want to interview stakeholders. So we want to understand what the other people in the company see as a problem with the product organization. Because product organization is there to support the whole organization, to work with products, but also in the larger environment. So here, I mean, not only on the management, but also if we are talking about production part, if you like, so developers. So what do they expect from product team? What are their visions of how they should be doing their product, how product teams should be doing their job? Of course, we have to speak with the team itself. So we have to understand what do they see as the pain points? What do they see as their problems? How do they see their environment? And this is something that we want to also find out before going into changes. And finally, we want to establish some metrics of success. How will we know that we are doing the good job? Okay, so we have to have alignment on these things throughout the organization, so that we say, okay, so we did something, we changed something, we observed the change, and then we say, okay, are we better or not? That's why we need metrics generally, so it doesn't differ here. Okay, so once we're done, as in the coaching, they will say contracting part. So we have aligned on what we want to achieve, where we are, what is the result that we want to achieve. We can go into the creating changes, and this is the framework that I have sort of piled up together from all the things that I believe should be there when you're trying to improve the product team. So you have these three, we've seen them as circles, now they're sort of arcs, so focus, skills, and motivation, and there are different activities in each of these arcs that makes them or that supports this goal that we want to achieve. So we'll go into details now. I call this Product Manager's Elevation Framework, or I'm not quite sure how I would read it in English, because in Serbian this promene means changes. It's just conveniently put. So it's hard for me to pronounce it, and I don't know how it would be pronounced in English. Anyway, so it's a framework about the changes in the product team anyway. And I have also allowed myself to also propose some of the metrics for each of these things, so that it's concrete, that it's not just, okay, these are the things you could do, but also to have how could I measure this? Because this is something that bothered me. Okay, so there are things that you can do to improve the skills of your people. There are things that you can do to motivate them better. But I was, asking myself, how do I know if I made any progress? And I said, okay, so for the skills part, we can measure change in behavior, in their behavior, through some questionnaire. And you will see later on, I'll give even more concrete example of how this might look like. But in general, okay, measuring the change, so they are performing this way, and then we do something, and they're performing differently, and then we see the difference, okay? For the focus part, change in time spent on critical activities. So this was pretty much, you know, for me it was very untangible because, you know, how do you measure if people are focused on something? You know, if they are doing if they are doing proper things, and then I said, okay, what I want to discover is what are the critical things that I want them to do. So, and this is the focal things. And then I will measure if they are doing this or not. And then finally, for the motivation, we have the employee surveys, and ENPS as a measurement of their motivation. Okay, so this is something that I'll go into more details now. So, but this is something that parts of these I've been trying, and from all these my trials and errors, obviously, I've come up that these are the things that you should be doing if you have the product team. Okay, so let's dive now in each of these sections and let's see what do they consist of. We're starting with the skills, and when the skills are there, the first thing that you want to do is to set the expectations for your product people. So I call it expectation matrix. So it's actually a list of, it's really, it can't be seen, but and generally I didn't want for you to read anyway, it's just a sort of representation of what it looks like. So basically you have different seniority levels in columns, and then in the first column you have the activity that they should be doing. So for instance, these activities might be writing user stories. And then you say, if you're a junior product manager, this is how it should look like. And then if you're going, while you're going up in seniority level, your skill of writing user stories should be changing. And then when you're most senior, well, I don't have any expectations. That is, I already, if you are at the top seniority level, I already assume that you have these skills. But some of the other skills, like strategic skills, will be defined better for the senior product manager. Meaning that this matrix actually encompasses the expectations from product managers, regardless of the seniority level, and it tackles the operative stuff, the product development or product management abilities, and also the knowledge of their domain. So obviously, as you're more senior, there are more strategic stuff that we are expecting you to do and that we are expecting that you do better. And if you're more junior, then we are talking more about the operative stuff. Okay, so why do we need this? Because, first of all, I mean, it's a really nice thing to say to people, what do we as a management expect from them? So that's, I would say, obvious. Second, we get the alignment throughout the organization. Because then it's not just between the person who is leading the product team and the product team, but also between other people that depends on the work of product managers. They can refer to this and say, okay, so I have a junior product manager managing my product. What can I expect from this person? Yeah, now saying this, I just thought, whether the junior product manager makes sense, which probably is not the best way to formulate it, but we definitely have products of a different seniority. So. So we get the alignment also between, so first of all, we say to people what do we expect from them. Secondly, we have the alignment throughout the organization, what they could expect from the product team. And third, some other things also depend on this, what we have defined here, and we will mention them later on. So we need this as a starting point regarding skills. And then, the second thing that you should be thinking about is the development of product people, and it should start the moment they join the company, and then continue as long as they are in the company. And for this purpose, I see 4 different programs, things, activities that you can employ in order to push them up on these skill ladders. So the first one is product onboarding program. So as far as I know, more or less every company has some sort of onboarding program for the people that just joined the company. Sometimes it's more successful, sometimes not, sometimes it's more formal or not, but generally companies have these onboarding programs. So the difference with this one is that it is tailor-made for product people. Why did we come up to the point that we see that we need this? Because company onboarding programs are general. They instruct people about what the company does, what are the company's products, what are our processes, etc., etc. But actually, you don't have a space that in this onboarding program you put a lot about your products. And product people, when they join the company, they have to understand where did they come to, you know, what the company does, and not just like numbering these different products that the company is doing, but also understanding them. So that is where this need for this sort of specialized onboarding program comes from. Okay, so once we've done this, then we need some sort of heavy artillery, some sort of program that would help product people obtain the skills that they don't have. So obviously, I mean, we're all different. We all have different backgrounds. So we have different experiences. So someone might be maybe more experienced into, I don't know, products that are related to end users. Someone is more experienced into back-end products. Someone maybe just, you know, advanced or changed his position from whatever, other parts of the company and became a product manager. So different type of skills, people have different type of skills. And then we want to enable them, to give them the opportunity to obtain the other skills needed for the product management. Hence, creating a product boot camp or internal program for the development of these people. And then you have the external educations. So yeah, probably you can't teach them everything in the company. There are some specific skills that you in the company might not have, or you might have, but you don't have time to dedicate it to educating people. So you rely also on external educations, and you can also engage consultants so that they be mentors or do some part of the job while your people are shadowing them. So these are different things, how you help your people, help your product people develop themselves throughout their working life. Okay, I'll go a little bit deeper into this, the first 2 things, because there's something internal that you can do. So, and this is the proposal of how this product onboarding program should look like. So basically, you have it like through time. And then you set the expectations for each of these steps in the time. So when I've been creating this with my colleagues, we said, okay, there is something that happens before the person joins the company. There are some activities. Then we have some expectations, what this product people has to be able to do after 1 week in the company, after 1 month, during first 3 months, and then during first 6 months. And then we set something like this. For each of these steps, what are the concrete expectations? So generally, what goals do we want this person to achieve? So, and then we said, say in a goals, I don't know, whatever. He should be aware of the back-end structure of the application, or he should be aware of the user group that we are targeting with this product, etc., etc. These are the kind of goals that we expect a person to have after this period of time. And then the concrete activities. How will this person get this knowledge that we expect from them? How will they understand what is in the back end of their application? And then the responsible person, the one who will help them get there. So it might be their lead, their manager, or it might be someone else from the company. So with this, you have the exact, like footsteps, what the whole organization have to do in order to onboard these people. Of course, earlier, these like first 3 months, it's more operative activities. The latter is more strategic stuff. So when you look at the sort of a timeline and spread between the products of a different seniority, you can say that if someone is on a more junior level, that you have mainly operative stuff, and then you expect that after a month, they can start working operatively on operative tasks. Their onboarding continues, but you expect that after a month, they are able to do operative stuff with the team on their product. For some people that are sort of a mid-seniority, you expect that by the end of the 3rd month, so somewhere between the 2nd and the 3rd month, they start leading an initiative of their own. And then if they're senior, you expect that somewhere between the 4th and the 6th month, they start leading their product by themselves. So these are the expectations. For someone, for some product, it might happen earlier, for someone maybe later, but these are the expectations that we set. Okay, so yeah. This is the onboarding. The second thing is the boot camp that actually has these two streamlines. One is improving the domain knowledge, and the second is product management competencies. And what it looks like, or it could look like, is the learning journey, how it would look like. So generally, you have the activities that the person should, or the skills that the person should obtain. So here we have how to get the product management mindset. What is the product management mindset? Then effective communication. Discovery techniques and activities, influencing skills, delivery techniques, storytelling, strategy and vision, portfolio management, and then wrap up. So these are like 1-day, 2-day trainings depending on each of them. And this should encompass more or less all the skills necessary for a product management, for a product manager to have. Okay. Finally, the one thing that also is that should be in this our portfolio of improving product managers or developing product managers is definitely visits to fairs, conventions, conferences, etc. And I believe that everyone from the team should be able to go occasionally on these events. What is important for me to stress here is it shouldn't be just an excursion, so just people randomly going there and spending some time on conferences and that's it. Like, the point is that you should also make expectations from them. So when you go there, something should happen afterwards. So you should share what happened there. So who did you talk to? And we expect that you talk to someone there. What did they say? What type of communication was there? If you've been listening to some lectures or talks, so what was the main thing on that lecture, etc., etc. And you share it in a formal way with the rest of the organization. So whether it be some sort of a brown bag or on some other meetings, but you have to share it with the others in the other organization. If you just go there and you spend some time, then it's excursion, you know. So, but we want you to bring the value for yourself and also to share this value with the rest of the organization. Okay, so yeah, and I said, what would be the proposed metrics here? I thought that you should measure somehow the changes in behavior of those people, how skillful they are. So I see that you can do it in sort of at least two ways. One is a little bit more objective, a little bit more formal, and requires more resources from your side as the organization and management. The other one is more intuitive, so I'll just walk through both of them. This more formal, how it will look like. So you prepare a questionnaire that is based on these expectation metrics. And then this is why it was important to be set. And then, of course, this questionnaire is different depending on the seniority of the product people that they refer to. And they should be filled in with by the stakeholders of these product managers, of this product manager concrete, also by the product manager itself, like self-evaluation, and by their managers. So sort of a 360 questionnaire, just that the questionnaire is very focused on exact activities that this person is doing. And for instance, in this example that you will see better when you get the presentation is like choose the best description of John Doe's initial user story writing skills. So this is the question. And then there are offered answers like user story is always clear, with sufficient details to start discussion with the team, gives enough context of the problem, has clearly defined initial set of acceptance criteria, business values clearly communicated, etc., etc. So it's going lower and lower, and then the final one is user story is never properly written. It's usually just a placeholder with the title without any context of business value. They are being written in a refinement sessions. And then you have the empty space, like provide more information about it. So to me, it seems that this would really pinpoint the problems that this product manager has in his work, and would help then discussion between him and his lead, his manager, about what should be improved, and then find the ways how. As said, I mean, this requires some time and some resources. I mean, because it's preparing the questionnaire for the first thing, then also asking people to get engaged with this. I do believe this is important, this is necessary, and this should be done. However, the organization might say, okay, we don't have that much time to dedicate to this. And then, if this is the case, you can do it as sort of take a shortcut, So you can, based on the experience, based on the metrics of expectation metrics, you can also, the person who is involved, the product managers, do the self-evaluation, and his lead, his manager, does also the evaluation, and then they sit and discuss. But they have something as a concrete start for the discussion. Okay, so this is about the skills part. Now we go to focusing people on the proper things. And so these focus for this part, it's very important that we have this expectation matrix, because it tells us where do we want that people are focused. What do we want them to spend their time on? And this will be one of the key things here is this first part, defining key focus area. So what do we want the product managers to spend time on? What do we want them to do? What we don't want them to do, or what we want them to do less. So in order to answer this question, we have to say, okay, these are important things the product managers should be doing, and these they shouldn't be doing. And this is why we need this expectation matrix, because from there we get the things that we expect them to do, and that this is something that we told them they should be doing. We obviously have to have alignment with the stakeholders around this, because changing things here will impact not just this person, this product manager, but also impact the rest of the organization. So we have to have alignment here, and we'll talk a little bit more when we come to the implementation of things. And then obviously it depends on the seniority, and yeah, it's more of a guideline than actually a prescription, because you have different people there, different seniority, different products, so it's hard to really give the prescription like what they should be exactly doing. So what it could look like, you could say, like, in the discovery part, we want the product managers to work on user interviews, defining and prioritizing opportunities, working on a solution, defining prototyping, etc., etc. In the delivery phase, work with the dev team, in sprint activities, backlog maintenance, etc., etc. So obviously this severely is impacted by the seniority and the concrete things that the person is doing. So yeah, and this is something that now the second thing is actually when we have agreed upon what the people should be doing, now we should be measuring what they are actually doing. And this is the example of the calendar of one product manager. So as you can see, yeah, the contrast is really bad, but you see a lot of tasks here. So these are 2 weeks of a product manager. So most of their time has been consumed by different meetings. And when we jumped into the analysis of this, we see that this person spends 91% of their time meeting other people, half of the time internal meetings, then 30% team meetings, and then like 20% with external stakeholders, external meetings. And then 9% this person is working alone. And then the question here is, where are these things, like user interviews, researches, future of the product, vision, etc. So they are not there. They are not anywhere. So my question here is, do we want this person to, do we want their schedule to look like this? For someone, maybe it does. I mean, maybe if this is like more junior people, maybe they don't have to think about future vision and strategy. But even that, I would disagree if you would put it like that, because maybe, you know, if you have junior people, they wouldn't create a strategy and vision, but they have to think about it. They have to understand it, because they also have to give inputs once the vision is being created or being changed. So everybody has to think about it. And yeah, let alone for things that are into discovery, I believe everybody should be doing that, maybe in a lesser extent than someone else, but it should be there. So we don't have it here, so we have to change something. And then we're coming to the changes. So we have defined what do we want, what do we want them to focus on. We said, okay, this is the current situation, so this is what they're doing. And now we have to see, you know, we have to introduce some changes. And what we can do there? Well, we can see if we can delegate some part of what the product manager is doing now to someone else. Some things that they are doing might be done by the team. Some things probably should not be done by product manager at all. So we should go into now the analysis, deeper analysis of what concrete things we have to do with this product manager and their work. Also, maybe we should introduce another product manager. Maybe this product is, you know, ripe for splitting. Maybe we should reorganize the work. Maybe we should introduce the product operations team that should generally help the product managers to be more focused on other things. We definitely have to see and decide what shouldn't be done, and also where we want to reduce the time spent, because there are some activities that have to be done, but maybe they don't have to spend like 4 hours a week or 5 hours a week. Maybe they can do whatever they do for 1 hour a week. So yes, it won't be done in that manner as if you would spend 4 or 5 hours. But maybe that's enough for us. Maybe that's just a sacrifice that we are ready to accept. And now I'm getting back to implementation, what I said a couple of minutes ago. So when we are doing the implementation of this, we have to have the support from the leaders. Because, as said, we're changing not just how and what product managers are doing, but we are changing also what other people are doing. So it can't be done just, you know, by a product management team saying, okay, now guys, we're doing this way, and by the way, you should be whatever, triaging the support tickets or the bugs by yourselves. You know, so it won't just go like that. So you obviously have you have to have the alignment, wider alignment throughout the organization, and to have the support. And of course, do it transparently. So we don't want to hide what we are doing and why we are doing some things, because it doesn't lead anywhere. Yeah, just as a reference point, just recently I've been at the conference where the lady was talking about introducing the product operations team, and she said they have been measuring in their organization how the product ops or product operation team helps the product managers, and they have found out that due to existence of this team, like product managers became more productive by some 30%. More productive meaning doing more of the things that you expect from them. So that's how they measure the productivity. And also this is a sort of an excerpt statement by Melissa Perry from her recent book, saying that the product operation team enables and helps product managers to focus on the things that we want them to focus, like company growth, achieving business goals, etc., etc. So this all goes in line with what we are trying to achieve here. We are trying to achieve focus of people on the proper things. Then we are coming to measuring the impact. So yeah, once we have created the change, obviously we want to see what happens. Like maybe on each 2 weeks or 3 weeks, do the exercise of what the people are spending their time on. So like the one that we have seen a couple slides before. And see what happens and if there are changes. And there is time, you have to allow like at least for 2, 3, 4 of these cycles so that you see the change. You can't expect the change to be seen immediately. And then you introduce this as a loop. So you continue measure all the time further on. So you measure, make changes, and see if you can change anything, something more, etc., etc. Okay, so what would be the proposed metrics? As I said, change in time spent on critical activities before and after the change, obviously. So we measure like this this calendar that we had. So we did it at the beginning. We introduced changes. Then we measure again with the same people. So what has changed in the meantime? Finally, motivation. So in the motivation part, there are also a list of things that you can be doing. One of the first things that I'm doing and that I would continue to be doing is creating a community of practice. So basically, what do I want to achieve is that, you know, we said at the beginning that the initial hypothesis is that, or for this talk, or the initial state, is that we have a group of people that don't see themselves as a team. So, okay, I want to help them be more compact, feel more like a team. And then this community of practice steps in. So you introduce mutual meeting where they can exchange their thoughts, their problems, what they are doing, what challenges are they facing, how they solve challenges, or if they didn't, how would others solve these challenges. And this is very, so to say, very powerful catalyst for this team spirit and for getting the feel of us as a team working together. You know, with the problem with the product managers is that you have product managers for one product and then for a second and for a third, and then they don't see themselves as a team quite often. So when you have a Scrum team, you have developers there, but you have one Scrum Master and you have one product owner. And then these product owners scattered throughout different products and different teams, they don't see themselves as a team. So what we want to achieve here is that they feel that they are a part of the team, because then they feel more secure, because they have someone to share their dilemmas, their problems with. And then they feel more secure in what they are doing. So this is why this community of practice is important. Second, formulation of team values. What do we as a product managers value? What are our things that we want to achieve? Like, I mean, it should be obviously aligned with the company values, but it can be sort of a bit different, focused on what we as a product managers want to focus. They cannot be, you know, in a totally different position to company values, but it can be more like detailed around it. What we want to achieve here is safe environment. So, you know, being I don't know how many people here are from the product managers. That's probably the question that I should have asked at the beginning. So how many of you are in the product management field in any way? Okay, a few, yeah, okay, thanks. You know, the thing is that you can feel alienated, as I mentioned before. So, and then when you feel like that, then you don't feel secure. You don't feel safe to say what you are thinking, because you don't have who to calibrate to. You don't have who to talk to, you know. And then you feel sort of alone there, and then you're sort of, I don't know, maybe this is so, maybe this isn't. Maybe this is the truth, maybe this isn't. So creating a safe environment. Now, two things: strategy discussion and regular KPIs discussions. This is something that is quite important, having in mind what the product managers are doing. So they are there to at least say support the strategy execution, if not less. So they have to understand the strategy that we have. So why the things are there. So we have to have sort of occasional meetings discussing these things. So did anything change? So should we, you know, change some things in what we are doing? Should we change in these, you know, like operation of our strategy? Should we do something differently? And this is important to happen occasionally, meaning not once a year. Because if you discuss the strategy only once a year, then you don't know what you're doing the rest of the year. And also, the good practice is having regular KPI meetings where you're tracking what's happening with your product. Because there, in this environment, as said, you feel safe to say, okay, this matrix is not going well. What shall we do? What can we do? What should we do differently? Second, this gives you the insight in and the reassure you in your understanding of your product. So if you're not tracking your product metrics, then you don't know what your customers are doing. And this is obviously, I mean, important, but sadly some people don't do it. So this should be sort of a regular thing that you're doing, like at least once a week. And finally, create learning environment through organizing book clubs, brown bags, whatever, fuck-up afternoons, celebrating success, etc., etc. So exchanging the information, exchanging the knowledge between these people. And finally, as they say, last but really not the least, is enable people to allow them to have the impact. Because I believe that having impact is one of the most important things in motivation. So once you know you have an impact, be it on the company, on its goals, be it on the customers and what they are doing and what they are using, makes you feel good, makes you feel motivated. Yeah, and what would be metrics here? Employee satisfaction and employee surveys, just to see what people are doing here and how the motivation is changing. So these things, as shown here, I mean, they are more like sequentially presented here. So circular but sequential. Huh? But actually, when you look at in the time, it's not how they would be functioning, obviously. So we have skills, focus, and motivation, and then we have different points of time when something is happening. So you obviously start with creating a community of practice, and in parallel, you're doing the expectation metrics. Expectation metrics require some time to be placed there. So you have to devise it, then you have to align with the other people in the company, so it will require some time. And then I really don't want to go here through the details, but the point is that these things are happening more or less in parallel. Yeah, and as the final words, so you should treat your product team as you treat your product. So they are here to stay, they are long-term here. So you have to take care of them, you have to help them improve continuously. It requires time, it requires your energy, etc., and you have to be ready for it. And also, it brings value if treated well. And if you haven't already started working with your team, start immediately. So this would be like my words for this. Thank you for your attention. Now we can see if there are any questions. Okay, Petri asks, when assessing product manager skill level, do you ask the team's assessment in addition to P&D sales? Do you experience of such team assessments? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So how I did it is, first of all, when you introduce this expectation matrix, you of course present it to people and say, okay, so this is something that is expected from you. So please use your time, like next 2 weeks, go through it, and then mark the fields where you see yourself. And in the meantime, me as a leader of this team, I do the same for each person. So I put where I see them. And this is sort of initial discussion between this person and me as a leader. So after 2 weeks, we sit and then we say, okay, so how do we see these things? Why do I see it more to the left or more to the right? We discuss this. So this is a sort of initial conversation between us. And then, like each 6 months or so, or each year, basically it can be connected to a general performance review process in the organization. So then we do the wider range of the people assessing those product managers. So ideally through this structured questionnaire, meaning that also people that are peers or other product managers should also give their point of view. The thing is that generally other product managers have limited insight in what their colleagues are doing, as said, because they are working on other products, etc., etc. However, they can answer these questions that they can relate to. So they don't have to answer all the questions, like, for instance, how this person is writing user stories. Someone from product manager's team might not know. You know, that is something that the Scrum Master could answer, and also the developers in their team should ask, exactly. And they are filling in this questionnaire. But I don't know how they are doing discovery or some things in discovery. Someone from product management team might know that because they might be doing the discovery together for something. So everybody should fill in this questionnaire, not necessary, but they don't have to answer all the questions. Alexander asks, is this framework customizable? Oops. Is this framework customizable and in UI, in your opinion? Huh? In what way?
Or do you feel all parts of it? Because a bit of context.
Yeah.
How organizations love to customize things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to see your experience in applying this.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they like to customize things and say, okay, we feel these parts of the framework are kind of more important to us, and these are not that
Mm-hmm.
important to us. Or do you actually feel this is because it is really comprehensive, it is
Yeah.
really kind of general, right?
Mm-hmm.
It applies really, I think, well to all kinds of organizations. But what is
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. So just if someone hasn't heard the question, just to rephrase it, so could this framework be adopted and customized based on the company's views of the importance of certain aspects, or it should be just as is? And what's my experience in implementing this? So you have the, to answer first for this question, you have the opportunity to see this framework for the first time. So this sort of a premier presentation of this framework. I haven't implemented it as a framework like this. So as said, so I have implemented the things in it, and then I figured out that it makes sense that this is a framework. It can be customized. It can be customized, obviously. That's why we have this contracting part as the first part, where we understand what the company needs, what the team needs, etc. But the thing is that I believe that all these three axes are necessary. So you have to work on all three of them. Whether you will be doing something, whether if you want to, one of the things that just crossed my mind now is this boot camp. So it's heavy. Maybe your company doesn't want to invest in the boot camp for product managers people. Maybe they will just say, but it doesn't mean that people should not be skilled up. So maybe you don't have to organize the boot camp, but you can engage other people that give you the understanding or help your people be better in whatever communication, in product discovery, or in product delivery. So you don't have to do it in-house. You might choose not to do anything from there or just part from there. So it's up to you. Yes, it is customizable to put it shortly. So it's just that I think that all these things have to be taken into consideration, and then you can say, okay, I mean, you can have, it's not ideal for the product manager, but you have a lot of companies that are focused on the delivery, so you can say, okay, this discovery part, we don't actually need it. That it's up to discussion. Is it really the truth? You really don't need anything from the discovery part, which I would challenge, but then you probably don't have it like as a heavy artillery there, and then you can customize it in that way. Okay, thanks. Okay. What's fucked up afternoon? Okay, it's an afternoon when we come up and talk about what we have fucked up. So it's just simple as that. So the point is, if we're just celebrating success, then we are creating a false picture, like, we are great, like the things you see on Instagram. Everybody on Instagram is great, with a lot of makeup, they're smiling, and their lives are perfect. But we all know that it's not a realistic picture, So what we want to say is, yeah, there are some things that we didn't do well, which is even more important, I would say, not more important, but which is at least as important as celebrating the success, because from these fucked ups, you learn not to repeat the same thing again. So that's the point, So be smart and don't do the same error again. Katerina says, what to do in a situation when we, as a product leads, create prominent plan for an employee that has disruptions from management, such as pushing a lot of work, pushing a lot of meetings, so the employee can't complete that plan. Yeah, that's a very good question. And it goes into into two directions, actually. One direction would be we as a product leads aligning with the company what do they want. So this is the first part, the contracting part. So do we want the people to really spend that much time on the meetings? Are they necessary? Do we have to do it like that? And this is really sort of heavy part on the product management managers or leaders, because you have to negotiate with the company. So what do you actually want? And what company wants is more money, so generally. And then when you go into this discussion, it's not easy to show how they will get more money by letting people not going on the meetings. So it is discussion between the leadership of the product management and the leadership of the company overall. The second direction would be exploring with these people, is it really necessary for them to be on all the meetings? Because, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it just feels good to be at the meeting, because that means that, you're important. Maybe you're not replaceable, it's good to be there. So, but maybe you don't have to be there. And also maybe there are different things for you to not to be there, meaning some things you can do asynchronously. Maybe if we sort of organize meetings differently in a sense, like sending meeting minutes or sending some conclusions from the meeting, etc., maybe we don't have to be there. So those would be two lines to explore too. So whether you have to be there and how not to be at all these meetings. And the other is alignment with the company. Do we really want people to be there? Because it's obvious when you say, okay, so while the person is at a meeting, they cannot do whatever, discovery, delivery, work with the team, whatever. So which of these do we want? So they can't be at the two places at the same time. So we have to value something more from this person's perspective. So it's not an easy discussion anyway. So. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we are coming into collision and say, okay, that employee are stuck in that situation, like what to do. Should we say no, especially when we have the juniors who don't know to say no, and they are not confident enough to say no to someone who is on a higher level. So should we as a lead be supportive to them and to empower them to say really no?
Yeah, we have to be supportive, definitely. What this requires, I would say, is recontracting. So sitting again with the stakeholders, the company management, etc., and do another round of recontracting. Maybe we have missed something, because we have certain agreement that we will behave in a certain way, and then obviously when it hits the reality, we behave differently. So we have to sit back and say, okay, so let's see. Has anything changed? So if something has changed, we have to change our agreement, or do we just don't give a damn about the agreement? So what is it? I would say that it's not giving them about the agreement. It's more like that we actually, when we discussed the first time, we positioned ourselves, both the management of the company and we as a product leaders, we positioned ourselves in actually wannabe world. So we have been talking from the perspective of how we would like the world to look like. And from that perspective, we said, yeah, no problem for the product managers to be focused on this and this and this and this. But it's not realistic, it's just wannabe. So that's why it requires the renegotiation now. Okay, so now we are a bit smarter. Obviously, the world doesn't work that way. So let's talk again. So because obviously this is not feasible. This is not something that is working. So we have to make another contract. Yeah.
Maybe to add on
Mm-hmm.
discussion is sometimes your internal, right? Your internal coach or whatever trying to implement the framework of this or changes, and sometimes you're not in a position because you're internal to actually empower the people to say no for certain things, right? Push back and stuff, right? So I think you mentioned this as one part of the plan is bringing up external help. I think also internal people who are implementing frameworks like this or changes and any kind should really strategize about bringing external help, even if it's just reiterating what you've been saying from the start. Because some organizations are just like that, bringing external people are just valuing their opinion more. I don't know, we can argue, but it's just like that. So I think it's a good thing to actually people start thinking about how to and when to actually bring someone from external to the company to maybe just reinforce what you're trying to do and actually push back those things.
Maybe it's also that the internal people who are also the leaders and who are mentors or whatever have the same goals as the organization. So sometimes maybe that can be also the case that they cannot say no because they are also part of the organization and we are sharing the same goals. So maybe that external is more objective in that part. So maybe it also can be.
Thanks. Do we have something more? No? That's it? Okay. Okay, people. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. You can contact me via LinkedIn. Predrag Rajkovic is my name, so you can ask questions also there. I'll be glad to answer to them. Thank you. Have a nice evening.